The failure of Mary Magdalene and the disciples to immediately recognize Jesus after his resurrection is a significant and thought-provoking aspect of the gospel accounts. 1. Mary Magdalene's encounter, John 20:11-18. In John 20:11-18, Mary Magdalene encounters Jesus outside the tomb, but she does not recognize him right away. This moment is particularly striking as she is deeply distressed and grieving over the death of Jesus. When Jesus speaks to her, she initially mistakes him for the gardener, not realizing it is the risen Lord until he calls her name. This highlights the emotional and spiritual context of her encounter, which prevented her from recognizing Jesus at first. 2. The disciples on the road to Emmaus, Luke 24:13-35. Another instance of unrecognition occurs when two disciples are walking to Emmaus. As described in Luke 24:13-35, Jesus joins them on their journey, but they are kept from recognizing him. Luke 24:16. They discuss the events surrounding Jesus' death and resurrection without realizing who he is. It is only when Jesus breaks bread with them that their eyes are opened and they recognize him. This gradual revelation emphasizes the importance of spiritual insight and divine intervention in recognizing the truth. 3. The disciples at the Sea of Galilee, John 21:1-14. The disciples also fail to recognize Jesus when he appears to them on the shore of the Sea of Galilee after his resurrection, as recounted in John 21:1-14. Early in the morning, Jesus calls out to them, asking if they have caught any fish. They respond that they have not, and it is only after he instructs them to cast their nets on the other side of the boat, resulting in a miraculous catch of fish, that one of the disciples realizes it is the Lord. This moment of recognition underscores the disciples' growing understanding of Jesus' resurrection and divine nature. The nature of Jesus' glorified body. The inability of Mary and the disciples to immediately recognize Jesus after his resurrection is often understood in light of the nature of his glorified body. Unlike others who were resurrected, such as Lazarus, Jesus' resurrection was different. His body was not a return to the former flesh and blood state, but rather a glorified, transformed body. This transformation likely contributed to the disciples' initial failure to recognize him. Jesus' resurrected body was tangible, as seen when he invited Thomas to touch his wounds, John 20:27, and when he ate with his disciples, Luke 24:41-43. Yet it was also different in ways that may have prevented immediate recognition. 5. Theological implications. Jesus' resurrection body is an example of the future resurrection that awaits all believers at the end of time. Just as Jesus' body was glorified and different from his pre-resurrection form, so too will the bodies of the saved be transformed. While we will recognize each other in heaven, our glorified bodies may look different from what they are now. Jesus' resurrection body, like ours will be, was flesh and bone. Luke 24:39. But without blood, since his blood had been shed for the forgiveness of sins. Jesus now resides at the right hand of God, in his glorified body, ever liveth to make intercession for us. Hebrews 7:25. In conclusion, the disciples' failure to recognize Jesus after his resurrection serves to highlight the transformative power of the resurrection and the glorified nature of Jesus' body, which serves as a foretaste of the glorified bodies that believers will one day receive. This process of gradual recognition also reflects the deepening understanding and spiritual insight that the disciples gained as they encountered the risen Lord.